Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Thursday. It's Daryl here. It is bright and freaking early, man. It's 3 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, this incident that I'm going to talk about today, I've been debating for at least the last week on whether or not I should talk about this. Every day I get up at like before 2 a.m. and I start going through all the news feeds, TMZ, all the different stories, see what's going on. If I don't find anything there, I think about stuff that's happened in my life, things that have made me feel happy or sad or angry, things I could talk about, things that affected me, and things that I want to hear your opinion on. And this incident happened over a week ago. And every day I've thought about talking about it, but I'm kind of hesitant because I think it might make me sound judgmental, or I'm drawing conclusions about other people, or I might sound arrogant, actually. And the more I thought about it, I was like, I'm just going to talk about this because I don't think I was stereotyping people or being judgmental. It really was just a gut feeling. And I'm not saying anything bad. But this is what happened. Okay, I was hesitant. I'm hoping that the person I'm talking about doesn't actually find this video because I don't want any bad feelings. In case I assumed wrong. I went into a bike store to have some bike work done on I own a couple mountain bikes. And as soon as I walked in, there were 2 or 3 guys working in the store. There was one guy sitting at the counter, and there were 2 people working on bikes. And I didn't know who to talk to. It was the first time I went to the store. So I look at the guy sitting at the counter, and I'll be honest, this is where my gut feeling, as soon as I looked at this guy, I thought this guy, to me, seemed like he might be gay. You know, just the way he dressed, the way he was sitting. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. See, this is the part of the video that I was just hesitant. I'm not saying any of this in a bad way, but my honest thoughts were, my gut feeling was like, that's what it went on in the back of my head. And there were 2 guys working on the bikes. And the guy sitting at the counter and the guy working the bike both asked me, can I help you? And I was like, I didn't know who to talk to. So the guy sitting at the counter came over to me, and I got the feeling, since he was sitting at the counter and not doing he seemed more like the boss, like the owner of the store. So I started talking to him. And like I said, I'm not saying this in a bad way, but I just got a gut feeling. And I don't want to come across as sounding judgmental or stereotyping, but this is honestly what went through my head. And I'm not saying it, it just was a thought that went through my head. Like the hairstyle, particularly the way he was sitting and everything, like I said, and just everything, like I said. All right. So I asked him about a specific product, tires, and we were having a hard time finding the exact tires I wanted, and he was being very helpful. And we went over to like a computer, and this is where I kind of assumed that he was the boss. And he went over to this area, like it was like an office, and he started looking through the computer. And I didn't want to go on that side of the computer to look on the screen with him. I didn't want to invade the privacy. I didn't know if there was stuff, I had the prices and stuff. I don't, so I stayed on the other side of the counter. And he kind of invited me to come over and say, look, we're having, I'm having a hard time finding this. These are the only tires I could find on here. So he kind of invited me to come over to the other side and look on the computer screen with him. And we're standing there talking, and we're almost shoulder to shoulder. I'm looking at the computer screen. He's sitting down, and as we're talking, he turns and talks to me eye to eye, and I see him look down at my arms, like he's talking to me, and he looks at my arms, and he looks back up at me, and he does this about 3 or 4 times, and it starts to throw me off because I'm in my mind I'm thinking, what's he thinking? My gut instinct was he was checking me out. It was like, that's the gut feeling I got. And it really didn't bother me. It could have, this is where I'm assuming here. He could have been looking, and like somebody said in the comments, they didn't like they thought my shirt was too tight. Maybe that's what he was thinking. Maybe he saw the stretch marks where I'm getting old and, my skin's starting to stretch, and maybe it was a bad look. Maybe he thought I looked ridiculous. I don't know. But this is what I went through my mind. So I definitely got the feeling that he was checking, that he might have found me attractive, and I know, I hope I don't come across sounding, conceited or anything, but I've thought about talking about this for a week now, and I said, screw it, I'm going to talk about this. And here's the thing. I think, the thing that makes me laugh a lot of times is there's a lot of men out there that are very, they seem very nervous around, I don't know how many times I've seen, straight guys, and, they don't want to get checked out. They think they gay guys are going to check them out or look at their backsides, and almost all the time, these guys are like, 5'5", 300 pounds, bald, and I always, I'm not gay, I'm heterosexual. But I start thinking to myself, I'm like, oh my God, you want to talk about arrogance? What makes these guys assume that just because somebody's gay that they're gonna, that they'd find you attractive? That's awfully arrogant to. And I hope I don't sound arrogant, saying that I think he found me attractive. But judging by his eye movements, I thought he did. Now here's the thing. Honestly, if I'm going to be honest with you guys, I was flattered. I really, honestly, if because like it appeared that he was checking out, the muscle, and it wasn't all that on the DL. It wasn't all that down low. It was obvious. He must have known that I noticed that, almost like I almost feel like he wanted me to notice that, and honestly, it didn't bother me. And I kept on talking, and he was trying really hard to find me. He actually, after about 15 minutes, he actually found a set of tires for me, and I actually bought them, and they're in the other room right now. And he went out of his way to help me. So I thought about this. Women use their wiles, their attractiveness, a lot of times to help get what they want. Why not? I don't feel like I was leading this guy on or anything, but I feel like maybe he thought I was attractive, and why not? And if anything, I'm flattered by it. Why wouldn't I be flattered by it? Just because it's a guy as opposed to a girl? I'm not going to get angry about this. I'm not going to get all scared about it. That would be ridiculous. That would say more about me and my self-confidence as a man if I got all upset and nervous about it. If it was what I thought it was, a man checking me out, honestly, I'm flattered by it. And I think he, because I think deep down, I think he knew, I think he could tell I'm straight, just like I could get the gut feeling, the instinct that he's gay, and I don't think, he thought anything would come of this or whatever, that he was actually really hitting on me. But it was just like, I think it was him just saying, yeah, I think you're a good looking dude, even though you're straight. That's the gut feeling I got, and it doesn't bother me. I'm actually flattered by it. And it's great because I feel like he might have given me more attention and help finding the tires than if he hadn't found me attractive. So like I said, I think women do this a lot. They use their physical wiles, their womanly wiles to get further in life. And if I could do that, why, all the better, why not? And like I said, I don't feel like playing head games or getting over it. I think he knew I was straight, just like I had a gut feeling that he was gay. And I could be totally wrong. I could be totally wrong about all this. The guy could have been straight, and he could have been looking at me thinking I looked ridiculous. I'm aware of that. But, this is what I debated talking about this for the last week. But, my gut instinct, I always say, go with your gut, the very first instinct. And I had this very strong gut instinct that the man was gay and that he found me attractive. And I'm okay with that. Why wouldn't I be? It's a compliment. So that's what I wanted to talk about. Let me know what you think. If you're a woman, do you think it's okay? Well, that I didn't, I don't think I went out of my way to use the way I look to get something more from him, but I was comfortable with it, so when I was looking at the computer, I wasn't leaning in extra close, trying to give him a false impression that I was interested, but I wasn't shying away either. Like I was all concerned about this, that he would spread it to me, that it would rub off on me or something. Like some, these homophobic men. Let me know what you think. All right, I'll be back later with another video. Have a good Thursday.